Hello everybody, it's Les. Today I want to talk about what we call frailty risk, which is something that doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun to talk about, but as we get older and age, these issues become very real to ourselves and our families. And so what is the definition of frailty risk? There's two parts to that. There's physical frailty risk and there's also mental frailty risk. Some research from the University of Michigan has suggested that 1/3 of us 65 and older already suffer from some type of frailty risk. And then of course, the longer that we live and get into our 70s and 80s, obviously the incidence of frailty risk really does increase over time, especially once you get into your 70s and 80s. Also, the longer that we're retired and actually not working and not engaged in kind of that work-life balance, that also increases the incidence of frailty risk. And quite honestly, if we don't have somebody to help us out, this stuff can get very expensive if we have to hire out for it. So I want to talk about some of the potential solutions that we have out there, things that we've experienced with our client base, of how to handle some frailty risk. The physical part of frailty risk is as simple as maintaining a home. Does it get harder to cut the grass? Does it get harder to shovel snow? Does it get harder to even change a light bulb if you have high ceilings? Things like that can really become an issue as we get older, and can get tougher and tougher to do. Quite honestly, a little more dangerous, right? Can cause other problems. Another physical risk that really crops up is your ability to drive, whether that be from some type of cognitive decline or whether it be a vision issue where you can't drive at night very well. That also can really have a big impact on a household or a family. So those are some of the physical things. Some of the mental things are, how about paying bills on time? Or how about doing taxes? All of these financial components mostly are online these days, right? And there's a lot of websites to keep up with. There's a lot of passwords to keep up with, and it can really be a challenge to, maneuver through a lot of these websites to get your finances taken care of. That can be a real pain in the butt. Number two, making investment decisions can get harder and harder as we age. Same thing, cognitive decline. Are we making the best decisions? Clearly, clients of YellowWood have us to help them with that, but it's still important to stay engaged, to be able to follow the recommendations that we put in place here. Handling medical paperwork can be a real pain in the butt these days, right? So whether that be doctor's claims, long-term care things, can be quite a challenge. So as we get older, a lot of these things are creeping up. I know you folks know what I'm talking about. You've certainly had this happen with family members. So what are some potential solutions? First of all, family. And it's great. Matter of fact, family is the #1 source of help for these issues. However, it does impact your family in other ways, right? If folks have to take off of work, or if they live too far away, whatever it might be, sometimes that's not an ideal solution. Another potential solution is hiring what we call a daily money manager, which is literally, there are people out there that will help you get your bills paid, get your taxes done, and kind of keep up with the stacks of bills that come in and help manage all that. That's a potential solution. Another potential solution is hiring a corporate trustee. For example, a Raymond James Trust Company. These are folks that you pay to help make sure all of these types of things get done. That's a potential solution. Another thing you want to make sure you have done is your powers of attorney. Your healthcare powers of attorney are important. So are your durable powers of attorney to help get financial things done. Folks that you've appointed in your estate documents, you want to make sure they know that they might potentially be called into play if something were to happen. But having those up to date is a solution. Third solution, consider retitling some of your accounts into the name of a revocable living trust, or an RLT. This is a conversation that you would have with your estate attorney, see if that makes sense for your given situation or not. Another great idea as you begin to age is to simplify your financial life. When we meet with new folks in particular, they've got accounts all over the place at a lot of different financial institutions. They've got old 401ks laying around. They may have multiple insurance policies they've forgotten about. And if you would get all that consolidated into one place, it makes it much, much easier to manage for yourselves, of course. But then if somebody's called into action to help you, that process gets a lot easier too. Automation, income, having Social Security come in automatically, or pension monies come in automatically to checking accounts is great. Paying bills automatically, I know a lot of us do that. That's huge. And so we need to be thinking, how can we really start to simplify our financial lives in case somebody has to step in for us? Housing decisions as you get older. A lot of folks think about downsizing. They might think about moving. I encourage you greatly to have these conversations way before you think you might actually need to have the conversation. Because if something suddenly happens, then we've got chaos ensues, right? And then we can really get into some financial pressures and have to make quick decisions, which may not be ideal. So think about these things proactively. I know sometimes it's very hard to talk about, we're glad to help out here at YellowWood to have these conversations if we can be kind of a mediator with family members to say, hey, how are we going to get these things done? The last option, one that my parents actually have used, is a continuing care retirement community, where you start with independent living in an apartment, but then on site they'll have assisted living, they'll have dementia units so that the family can kind of stay together in one place. There's a lot of those out there. We're glad to help out with any financial analysis as it relates to those options. So we're here as a resource. We love to talk about these things and help out. Give us a call if we can be of assistance with the ongoing tariff conversations. We look forward to talking with you next month. Thanks a lot. Bye.